Like, follow, and share, Lycoming Ya Heard. We dare pulses of the poor, and why do people leave? Crank up the truth with Beth and Steve.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Lycoming Ya Heard. I'm Steve Marshall.
And I'm Beth Fulmer. All right, so today we're going to be looking at veteran homelessness.
Okay.
And you sent over a ton of articles and reports.
I did.
And it's really is a stark picture.
Yeah.
We got some local news from Williamsport, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Some data from the VA, a military family support group, and an opinion piece that kind of takes a different stance.
It's a very interesting mix of sources that you've got there.
Yeah, it's good to see the problem from different angles.
Exactly.
So first things first, how big of a problem are we talking about?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it?
One source claims 11% of all homeless adults in Pennsylvania are veterans.
Oh.
And nationally, 1 out of every 5 military families has problems with food insecurity.
Yeah, I saw those numbers too. Pretty alarming.
Yeah, meaning they don't have consistent access to enough food for everyone in the house. So
Wow.
that's pretty bad.
Yeah, but it's those human stories, that really bring it home.
Yeah.
Like Phil, who lost his toes to frostbite because he was living on the streets.
Oh.
Or that 79-year-old woman brought to the Code Blue shelter on a gurney.
Oh my gosh.
Makes it clear that many veterans are in truly desperate situations.
It's heartbreaking, and it makes you wonder, why are so many veterans falling through the cracks?
Well, one factor that keeps popping up is the sheer complexity of the VA support system.
Really?
It's a vast bureaucracy.
I can imagine.
A ton of different programs, and navigating it can be a real nightmare for anyone,
Right.
even if you're tech savvy and organized.
One of the articles even describes it as a maze designed to discourage veterans
A maze.
from seeking help.
Yeah,
But it's just one perspective, though.
of course.
There's plenty of people who view the VA as a vital safety net.
Absolutely. You're right. We have to acknowledge those different viewpoints.
But even the people who praise the VA admit its programs can be incredibly difficult to access.
All right.
And sometimes the hurdles seem almost deliberately designed to make things harder.
Like what?
Like, did you know that some veterans actually have to be homeless for 180 days?
Before qualifying for certain types of assistance.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's hard to believe.
Yeah,
And that might seem counterintuitive.
it does.
It really reflects the limited resources and the difficult choices the VA has to make.
Right. Prioritizing aid.
Yeah.
It's a constant struggle between meeting immediate needs and long-term sustainability.
I guess I hadn't thought about it that way.
Yeah.
But it's still tough to swallow, though.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider the pride and shame so many veterans feel about asking for help.
Absolutely.
They've been trained to be self-reliant and tough.
Yeah.
So admitting they need help
Right.
can feel like a personal failure.
That's such an important point. Many veterans internalize those military values, strength and resilience.
Right.
And it makes it incredibly difficult to reach out when they are struggling.
Yeah.
They might feel like they're betraying their unit or that they're less of a person for needing help.
So you've got this web of bureaucratic hurdles
Yeah.
and then deeply personal barriers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's no wonder so many veterans end up slipping through the cracks.
It's a systemic problem, but it's also a human one.
Yeah.
And what's so powerful about the articles you've shared is they show how individuals
Right.
and communities are stepping up to address this issue on a human level.
You're talking about those local efforts in Williamsport,
Yeah.
the Code Blue program that provides shelter during freezing weather,
Exactly.
and Paul Mills, the guy who's camping out to raise money for homeless veterans.
Right. They're not just meeting immediate needs. They're fostering human connection
Yeah.
and reminding these veterans that they're not forgotten, that people care.
And the couple running the Code Blue program, John and Sue Best, are amazing.
I read about them.
They're not just offering shelter and meals at their church, but they're actively connecting people with other resources,
Oh, wow.
like housing assistance and mental health services.
It's that holistic approach that's so critical.
Yeah.
You can't just provide a warm bed for the night.
Right.
You need to address the underlying issues that contribute to homelessness. Mental health struggles, substance abuse, or even just the lack of a support network.
And the Bests are even looking to expand their efforts.
Really?
They want to open a daytime center where veterans can hang out, access resources,
That's great.
and just be human, as they put it.
That's a really insightful observation.
Yeah.
What they're talking about is creating a space that goes beyond just basic needs. It fosters a sense of belonging.
Yeah.
A place where veterans can rebuild their lives and connect with others
Right.
who understand what they've been through.
It's like they're trying to create a community within a community.
Exactly.
A safe haven for those who've often felt isolated and misunderstood.
Yeah, and that brings us to another crucial point.
Okay.
Understanding the resources that are available both nationally and locally.
Yeah, you've got a lot of information about some really valuable programs and organizations.
I tried to pull some good ones for you.
Okay, so let's break it down. Starting with the big one, the National Call Center for Homeless Veterans.
Right.
That number is 1-877-742-43838.
Got it.
It's available 24/7.
Okay.
And it's the first line of defense for anyone struggling with homelessness or at risk of becoming homeless.
And if someone is in immediate crisis,
Yeah.
there's the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline.
Right.
This is crucial for anyone experiencing suicidal thoughts or emotional distress.
Mm.
It's a lifeline, literally, and it's available 24/7.
Then there's the VA Homeless Programs website.
Okay.
va.gov/homeless.
Got it.
It's packed with information about different programs and services offered by the VA.
That's great.
And it can help connect veterans with their local VA facilities.
Speaking of local resources,
Yeah.
it's essential to connect with the homeless coordinator
Okay.
at your nearest VA medical center.
Okay.
They can help navigate the system and figure out which programs you might be eligible for.
And let's not forget about local organizations like the American Rescue Workers and the Saving Grace Shelter.
Right, doing amazing work.
Yeah, in Williamsport.
Of course, these are just examples.
Right.
Every community has its own network of support organizations.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to do some research and find out what's available in your area.
You've also got some information on Tunnel to Towers,
Oh, yeah.
a nonprofit that was highlighted in one of the opinion pieces as an alternative model for veteran support.
Now that's where things get interesting.
Yeah.
Tunnel to Towers takes a much more streamlined and direct approach to helping veterans.
All right.
And they've been praised for their efficiency and transparency.
Yeah, the opinion piece claimed that 95% of their funds go directly to beneficiaries.
Wow.
That's a pretty stark contrast to the often bureaucratic and complex VA system.
It certainly raises questions
It does.
about whether there are lessons to be learned from these alternative models like Tunnel to Towers.
Right. Could some of their practices be adopted to create a more effective and responsive system?
Right, exactly.
It's a thought-provoking idea, and it speaks to the broader debate about how best to address veteran homelessness.
Yeah. Do we try to reform the existing system, or do we look to these new and innovative models?
Exactly.
And that's a question we'll continue to explore as we delve deeper into your sources.
Okay, let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and discuss this more in detail.
Sounds good.
It's really striking how these local groups put so much emphasis on treating veterans with dignity
Yeah.
and respect.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about providing a handout,
Right.
It's about empowering them to rebuild their lives.
That's a really crucial distinction.
Yeah.
And it challenges those stereotypes surrounding homelessness.
Yeah.
These aren't just faceless statistics,
Yeah.
These are individuals who've served our country.
Right.
And they're often facing invisible wounds that we as a society don't always acknowledge.
Yeah. The opinion piece we have here really hits on that.
Oh, yeah.
Comparing the support offered to veterans
Mm-hmm.
to, well, let's just say another group that's been in the news a lot.
Right. I know what you mean.
The author draws a sharp contrast between the complex bureaucratic process veterans have to go through to get benefits
Yeah.
and the ease with which resources are mobilized for others.
It's a controversial comparison,
It is,
but it raises some valid questions about priorities and fairness.
for sure. The author even says that veterans have earned their benefits,
Mm-hmm.
having put their lives on the line for our country,
Right.
while others haven't made the same sacrifices.
It's a charged statement,
Yeah.
but it reflects a sentiment that I've heard from many veterans and their families.
That feeling of having to constantly prove their worthiness
Right.
can be so demoralizing, especially for those already dealing with the trauma of war.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or even just the challenges of reintegrating into civilian life.
It's like we're asking them to fight another battle,
Yeah.
this time against paperwork and red tape.
And it just highlights the need for a fundamental shift
Yeah.
in how we view and support our veterans.
Right. It's not charity.
No.
It's about recognizing and honoring their service.
Yes.
By giving them the tools and resources they need.
Absolutely.
So let's bring it back to those local initiatives in Williamsport.
Okay.
They seem to be doing an amazing job of bridging the gap
Yeah, they really are.
between veterans and the support they need.
They're acting like navigators,
Right.
helping them find their way through that maze we were talking about.
And they're not just connecting veterans with services.
Right.
They're creating a sense of community.
Yeah, a place where veterans can feel safe and supported.
Remember the Bests talking about a daytime center
Yeah.
where people can just be human?
I do. It speaks to the deeper needs.
Yes.
The needs that come with homelessness.
Right. The loss of dignity.
Exactly. Isolation.
Yeah.
The feeling of being invisible.
They're not just addressing the practical aspects of homelessness. They're addressing the human cost.
And they're doing it with so much compassion.
Yeah.
There's a quote from Sue Best that really resonated with me.
What was it?
She said, "These are our sons and daughters,
Wow.
our brothers and sisters.
Mm-hmm.
We can't just turn our backs on them."
It really reframes the whole issue,
It does.
reminding us that these aren't strangers. They're
Right.
members of our community.
Exactly. People we're connected to.
Yeah, and it reinforces the idea that we all have a role to play,
We do.
whether it's volunteering,
Mm-hmm.
donating to a local organization,
Yeah.
or advocating for better support systems.
Absolutely.
Speaking of volunteering, one thing that really stood out to me was the dedication of the people involved.
Oh, yeah.
The Bests,
Mm-hmm.
Paul Mills, all the volunteers at the shelters.
They're going above and beyond.
It's amazing.
Volunteering is such a tangible way to give back.
Yeah.
It's about showing up, rolling up your sleeves,
Hmm.
and contributing to something bigger than yourself.
And it's not just about the practical tasks.
It's about human connection.
Exactly. Reminding those who are struggling that they're not alone.
That's a crucial element of these successful initiatives.
Yeah. Creating that network of support.
Yeah.
A community of caring individuals,
Restoring hope.
one connection at a time.
Yeah, and that brings up another important point. Prevention.
Right.
We can't just react to the crisis of veteran homelessness.
No, we have to address the root causes.
Yeah, create support systems that prevent veterans from falling through the cracks in the first place.
Exactly.
One of the sources, the Military Family Advisory Network,
Okay.
highlights the challenges faced by military families.
Like what?
Frequent moves, spouse unemployment, difficulty accessing quality health care
Yeah.
and childcare.
All of these factors can contribute to instability,
Right.
and put families at risk.
It's not just about the veteran.
Right.
It's about the entire family.
We need to recognize that supporting veterans means supporting their families, too.
So we need to provide comprehensive assistance.
That addresses not just housing,
Mm.
but also employment education, mental health,
Yeah,
and that transition from military to civilian life.
that's a big transition.
Yeah, and prevention is a collective effort.
It is.
It's not just the VA's responsibility.
Right.
Communities, businesses, nonprofits, individuals, we all have a role to play.
Absolutely. We need to create a safety net,
Yeah.
that's woven from compassion, understanding, and practical support.
It's about creating a culture where seeking help is seen as a strength, not a weakness,
Exactly.
and where veterans and their families feel valued
Supported.
and respected.
These articles from Williamsport,
Yeah.
they really show the power of individual action.
Mm-hmm.
The Bests opening their church doors,
Right.
Paul Mills braving the cold.
It's inspiring.
These are ordinary people who saw a problem and decided to do something.
And that's what's so inspiring about this whole topic.
Yeah.
Veteran homelessness is solvable.
It is.
It's complex, but it's not insurmountable.
We've seen what dedicated individuals and organizations can do.
The Bests offering shelter and compassion.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Mills raising awareness.
Right. Everyday people making a difference.
And so
At it.
it might start small.
Yeah.
Donating to a shelter, volunteering your time,
Mm-hmm.
talking to a veteran in your community.
Every action, no matter how small, ripples outwards.
Maybe you're inspired by Tunnel to Towers.
Yeah.
Dive deeper.
Research their model,
Yeah.
their impact, their methods.
Could something similar work in your community?
It's a good question to ask.
Remember, this isn't about statistics or policies.
Right.
It's about people
It is.
who have sacrificed for our freedom,
Yes.
who deserve our respect, our support,
Our unwavering commitment.
to make sure they have a safe place to call home.
Exactly.
Let's honor their service, not with words,
But with action.
Yes.
Let's work together to build a world where no veteran is left behind.
That's a vision worth striving for.
It is.
This brings us to the final part of our deep dive. We've explored the complexities, the challenges, the glimmers of hope.
Yeah.
Now it's time to consider what this means for you, the listener,
That's right.
on a personal level.
It's about moving beyond awareness
Yeah.
and into action.
Okay. So we've covered a lot in this deep dive.
We have.
The reality of veteran homelessness, the inspiring work being done, and even those differing opinions.
Right.
But facts and figures are only so useful.
That's true.
It all comes down to what you take away from this.
What do you do with this information?
Exactly. So what struck you most from all this?
Yeah. What got you thinking?
Did something spark a question or maybe even a fire in your belly?
Hold on to that feeling.
Yeah, because it could be the seed of action.
It could be.
Maybe you're thinking about those local efforts in Williamsport.
Right. And what's happening in your own community.
Yeah, a quick search online can point you to organizations that are helping veterans.
And a lot of them need volunteers.
Or maybe you're frustrated by all those bureaucratic hurdles.
Understandably so.
That frustration is valid.
It is.
But channel it into action.
Got to.
Contact your elected officials.
Okay.
Share what you've learned and demand better support for those who've served.
I like it.
And remember, talking about it is powerful too.
It is.
Share this deep dive with your friends, your family, your colleagues.
Get people talking.
Yeah. The more awareness we raise,
Mm-hmm.
the more pressure we put on those in power to actually make a change.
Because here's the thing.
What's that?
Veteran homelessness as solvable.
It is.
It's complex, but it's not impossible.
We've seen firsthand the impact that dedicated people and organizations can have.
Like the bests offering shelter and compassion.
Yeah, Paul Mills raising awareness with his camp out.
They're proof that everyday people can make a real difference.
And you can too.
Absolutely.
It might start small.
Mm-hmm.
Donating to a shelter, volunteering your time, even just striking up a conversation with a veteran in your community.
Every action, no matter how small, creates ripples.
And remember, those ripples can turn into waves of change.
That's a great point.
Maybe you're inspired by Tunnel to Towers.
Yeah, that was a fascinating organization.
Dive deeper, research their model, their impact.
See how they do it.
Think about if something similar could work in your own community.
Good thought.
And always remember, this isn't just about numbers and policies.
No,
It's about people.
real people.
People who sacrificed for our freedom, who deserve our respect and our support,
Absolutely.
to ensure they have a safe place to call home.
We owe them that at the very least.
So let's honor their service not just with words, but with action.
I'm with you on that.
Let's build a world where no veteran is left behind.
That's a goal worth fighting for.
And on that note of hope and action, we'll wrap up this deep dive.
It's been a great conversation.
Thanks for joining us, and remember, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep acting.
Keep making those ripples.
Because even the smallest ripples can create waves of change.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Like, follow, and share. Lycoming Ya Heard. We dare pulses of the poor. And why do people leave? Crank up the truth with Beth and Steve.